Hi everybody out there, how's it going? Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my best tips for simplifying and living minimally. This was actually a video request and I thought that it was an excellent topic for me to delve into, because if there's one thing that I really like to embrace in my life, it's keeping things simple and simplifying. So I'm really excited to share some of the ways that I like to incorporate a bit of minimalism in my life and basically ways to make life a little bit easier. About 6 or 7 years ago, the concept of simplicity and simplifying a lot of what was around me became an enormous component of my life. Basically realizing that I didn't need all of these material things that I had was really the catalyst for the spiritual and health journey that subsequently followed and has led me to where I am today, sitting right here. I personally find that I function best when various elements of my life are as simple as possible. It definitely makes a difference in how I feel and how I live and how I go about my days, and so anyways, let's get started. Here are my tips on how to simplify your life and live minimally. So my first tip is pretty basic, and that is to declutter. Reducing clutter feels absolutely amazing, and one thing that I always like to keep in mind when it comes to my belongings is to try and only surround myself with what I use, what I need, and what I love. Take a moment to think about what you own, your belongings, what you have, and ditch what isn't meaningful, what isn't useful, and what isn't valuable to you. It makes a huge difference. Sorting and organizing is another task that makes a huge difference in how we live and how we feel. I definitely recommend making use of some boxes, some bins with labels to store your papers or different kinds of documents, recipes, if you have arts and crafts supplies. I actually quite like doing this on a weekend in the afternoon. Turn on your favorite music, turn on your favorite playlist, and just make a day out of it and kind of have fun sorting. And my goodness, does it feel good to have things organized, and it just makes your life feel so much simpler and just feels good. My next tip is to reuse, and I have 3 points here. My first point is to refurbish. One of my hobbies is... What are you doing? What are you... Get away! What? Okay. One of my hobbies is refurbishing furniture. I absolutely love doing this. It's one of the best ways to reuse. It's also one of the best ways to save money. Instead of throwing out items or furniture that are in an otherwise really good condition, consider giving it a new coat of paint, sanding it down, restaining it, replacing the old knobs. I update furniture pretty frequently actually, because I like to do it in my spare time. So if there's ever like a friend or a family member that's getting rid of whatever, like a table, a coffee table, a chair, I'm always up for repainting it and playing around with it and getting creative. It's lots of fun actually. My next point is to reuse. There are countless ways to reuse just everyday stuff that is around us. You can reuse old fabrics, you can make use of some glass mason jars. I have jars full of all kinds of things that used to have like nut butter in them. I've got jars with makeup brushes in them, with cotton swabs. I have teas, spices, herbs in jars. I like the look of it, but it's also just really practical and really functional to make use of those things. And my third point is thrift. I love thrift stores. They're probably one of my favorite places in the world. I'm usually there on a Saturday or a Sunday. There's just so many unique items that you can find there. Furniture, clothing, a lot of great stuff, especially for refurbishing, which is really excellent. And the best part, next to the fact that you're reusing, it is so inexpensive. And I feel like it's worthwhile for me to share with you this little tip. It's kind of my rule of thumb, and that is if you see something in a store that you really want, take a step back, ask yourself if you really need it. Either wait half an hour, wait a day or two. If you still really want it and it's still really on your mind, go get it. but often I find that after I've walked away for a little while, it's completely not even on my mind anymore. And I find that it's just a great way to determine if it's something that we really need or if it's something that we really want. And I find that that helps me to make the best buying decision. Not trying to give financial advice here or anything, but I just feel like it's something that works a lot for me. My next tip, one of my favorites, and that is to make lists. Lists for me personally are a lifesaver. I'm always writing lists. I always have pads of paper, and I'm always making use of notebooks to keep track of my ideas, to keep track of recipes that I want to make, what I need to get done, what I need to do, what I need to buy. I just find that it makes a huge difference in my day-to-day life in the way of keeping my brain organized and just making sure that I don't leave anything out, especially if there's important things that I want to make sure that I get done. There's a lot of different ways that you can get creative with list making. If you don't necessarily feel like carrying around a little notebook with you, you can make use of the Notes app that's on your phone. You can get a corkboard or a white or blackboard, and you can post that in your kitchen or your office or your bedroom. You can type up spreadsheets for specific tasks that you have. Invest in a good planner or agenda. There's just so many ways that you can go about it. Play around with different list making tools and see what works for you, but it's definitely a great way to kind of just condense all of your thoughts. My next tip is to do as you go. So basically, if and when possible, deal with things as you go. For example, you need to make an important phone call, just do it. A bill arrives, pay it. You need to respond to that email, respond. You need to feed your fish, feed your fish. There's definitely times where it's more important for us to just take a step back, relax, hang out with friends and family, and not be so caught up with needing to get everything done right now. But I just find when it's little things or things that are really easy to do or don't take a long time, it feels great to just get them done, get them out of the way. I also wanted to share with you guys really quickly, I was reading a Q&A kind of interview in this magazine here, Vista magazine, with happiness expert Gretchen Rubin. And she had an excellent suggestion that stuck out in my mind, and she calls it her 1-minute rule. So basically, it's the idea that if you can do something in less than 1 minute, you should do it without delay. So that is anything from hanging up your jacket, making your bed, putting a dish in the dishwasher, just little things that take a minute or less that you can just do. A whole bunch of little things that need to be done can add up, right? And just make life hectic. So it's nice to just get them out of the way. Another way that I like to simplify is in the way that I design my living space. Obviously, this is very personal and very subjective, but I find that I really like it when I just have sort of singular decorative items in one place as opposed to lots of different things. I think it's just easier on my brain knowing that I don't, I just like to keep things really simple in the way that I decorate. So for example, a single plant on a desk, or a photograph, or I love candles, so I like to just have one candle as a centerpiece, or a bowl of some fruit, or a bowl of apples in the center. I don't know, that's just how I guess I like to kind of do things, but definitely consider what feels good for you in the way that you design, and that in and of itself makes a huge difference in how we feel and the way that we live. My last point here is to learn when to say yes and no. It can be really hard sometimes to say no to certain invitations or certain events, sometimes out of feeling a little bit guilty, but it's really, really important for us to harness that power of I can't because I've already got a lot on my plate, and it's really important for us to honor that, I think. I am a huge advocate for saying yes to things, taking opportunities, especially when they're out of our comfort zone. I think it's really important for us to grow in that way and just explore. But I think that when it comes to us being already really, really busy or having a really hectic schedule, it's just really important for us to listen to what does or doesn't feel right and making sure that we do prioritize slowing down and making time for ourselves. It can be hard to maintain a balanced schedule, but if and when we can do that, it really helps. I find that I need my time alone and my time in solitude to just be by myself so that I can recharge and find my balance again, and I think it's important for a lot of us to make time for that. So those are all of the tips that I have for you guys today. I think I just want to finish by saying that we live in a complex world, a really complicated world, and it can help us out a lot just doing a thing or two here and there to try and make our life a little bit more simple, and it should be enjoyable, it should be fun. And at the same time, as much as it would be nice for us to, you know, constantly have everything orderly and, you know, our ideal world, we can only do what we can realistically do, and I think it's important for us to know that we're not always perfect, but as long as we can just put into action what does feel good as often as possible, then that's what matters, and just always work toward whatever goal it is that you have for you in your life to make you feel the best that you can feel. Let me know in the comments below what some of your tips are for simplifying your life or living minimally, if any of you out there are really into that sort of thing. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!